Okay. It's
Record.
working, yeah.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back for another episode. I'm Brother Derek, also known as the relationship coach, and I'm here with my wife.
Yeah, I'm Lex. We here today to talk about what you call self-sabotage.
Yep, self sabotage.
Yeah, the way I interpret it, and I did like a short little video about this too, is just asking yourself if you the problem. So self-sabotage to me is just like, are you the problem? Are you the problem in your your journey to find good, healthy relationships?
Yes. Yep.
Yes, sir.
Um, how it started. So I just noticed that a lot of people like they'll always kind of point fingers at the other person there, especially when things go wrong or when things ended. They may say, yeah, like, yeah, this person would have had X, Y, and Z going on, or they need to work on this and that, and they never take the time to really look at, well, even if that's true, even if this person did do X, Y, and Z, and things didn't work out, what did or didn't you do in that relationship or in that scenario? And I feel like a lot of times people don't look at that, and then they go on to the next relationship following the same problems where they just looking at the other person. There's never any self accountability. It's always just the same. What does this other person do? And I call that self sabotage because it's you really not looking at yourself. A lot of times you're the problem, and it's just something that's not addressed. So you just keep going around. It's almost like you got like a vest with knives on it, and you just keep trying to get close to people, and then you just like you poking them, and then you like this person just something wrong with them. They ain't got their stuff together, and you ain't looking
Ain't this
like
a steps over me? You running around, you
yeah,
got knives on your face, like they distant. They
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
ghost me.
yep. So that's
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like that's so common, and I wonder like how many more good relationships would exist if people didn't do that. And it's not always that you are the full problem. It's like two people that don't acknowledge their problems, like a lot of times, because it's like for us, and for instance, right? The main thing I always say, like, that you gotta get together in your life, in all aspects of your life, but especially relationships and everything. But it's like self development, and self development is just like continually working on yourself, improving yourselves. Like if you have trauma, or you have toxic behavior, attitude, it's like, what can I do to correct that? What can I do to overcome that? That's what is needed. And I feel like I even had somebody before who just was telling me, like, someone in my family, and then he was like, people just not compatible. People not compatible. This was like, way before me and you was together. And he just like, people aren't compatible. Like, basically, he felt like no one was compatible with one another. Like, because he felt like, I guess he had tried different relationships and none of them worked. And I don't feel like that. I think it's two people who come together and they both have their individual issues, and each person don't want to fix their issues. They just want you to fix your issues. And even if the other person does decide to fix their issues, if you don't fix your issues, you gonna end up getting left, because it's only so long that somebody gonna stay with you when you here and they like trying to get to a different level. So it's like, I see that all the time, and it's not about, it's so empowering to actually look at something that you do and be like, I want to improve that, because you take the power in your hands. Even if you're with a person who don't want to do that, I mean, you may not be able to stay in that relationship if you're trying to better yourself and then someone else is not trying to better themselves, but you actually gain the power. So often people don't want to do the work. And I will say, I've been doing this for so long that it's natural to me to kind of look at myself like, what am I doing? Like, what did I do? Like, what could I have done better? But before, it was a time where I was on that too, probably like over 10 years ago, when we first met. And then you probably was the same way, like, well, you doing this, you doing that. And then it's harder to see the things that you doing or not doing, because it's a behavior that we learned. It's a behavior that we learned. And the fact is that you affect your opportunity to actually find the right person if you keep taking the wrong person, which is you in the state that you are in right now, to other people. Like you trying to look for someone who's like this, like this five
Hmm.
star is 10 star, 10 star, 5 star,
Either one is
5 star, yeah, 5 star person. Like a dude, he got his stuff together. He got houses, he got investments, he got money. He compassionate. He like to, take you out. Or a dude looking for a girl who, she got her own stuff. She got money. She got, she cook, she clean, she's supportive, she's submissive. You looking for this grand person when you over here with a bunch of issues and baggage that you haven't addressed yet. It's like you're not gonna get anywhere. You're not gonna be able to attract the person that you're looking for. You're gonna continue to attract the people that's at the same level as you are. And that's the same thing with friends too. Because like we talk about relationships, but even just friends. I feel like I've been talking for mad long.
Yeah, you did good. You got a lot of information out there. I agree, and that's why I think healthy relationships doesn't just stop at your partner. I feel like life is full of relationships. That's what life is made up on: relationships. How you interact with your friends, family, your spouse, your kids. So and I kind of feel like how you handle one relationship, in a sense, is how you handle all of them.
Yeah,
Like if
that's
you
true.
don't listen to your kid, you're probably not listening to your husband or anybody else that's trying to give you information. And
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people will tell you, because, for example, with us, like you would tell me, you know, um, because I know I came a long way, and you kind of helped me, and you would explain to me like, why do you do certain things, and I had to think about it, like, why do I get so angry, or why am I so impatient about this, and and I had to take the time and think about it, like, where did that come from, or why
Right.
do I feel like that? And I feel
Same.
like people will tell you or ask you like what's going on, and then people sometimes don't listen. They don't take the time to
Yep.
like my girlfriend or my friend is telling me or asking me like what's wrong, like what's going on, why is this happening, and then people get so defensive that they don't
Yeah.
take the time to really like think about like they trying to actually help me, or why use it as a reflective moment and take the time to think about it. And that's a whole nother thing, but that's another issue why we need to take that time and stop being so distracted with TV and all these things that keep us from taking the time to figure out what's going on in here and in here. We too busy listening to music and movies and shows.
Yeah. That's true. Cause I remember like even at our wedding and the vows, like like we had like freestyled ours, and I even said like just off the top of my head, I was just like I had found him or he kind of found me, but I wasn't looking for anyone. And I remember a time in my life when I shouldn't have been because I was young, but it's all I know. It's all I knew, and it's all I saw. But like constantly looking for someone, like we used to say, like talk to. I'm not sure if y'all used to consider that like someone to talk to, which is kind of like dating. Like when I was younger, and then I had friends and stuff. We was always just looking for someone to date. And then older women that I seen, like older women in my life, they was always looking for somebody to date. So it was like a normal thing. Like it's one of the things that you do. And it was when I met you, I wasn't even looking for no one. The only thing that I was doing was working on myself. I was working on myself. I was improving myself. And I wasn't even saying, okay, I'm improving myself for when that man comes along. Like, I'm improving myself so I can have a good relationship. I just was improving myself because I wanted to be a better person. And then you came along, and I feel like you was at the same level. Like, we was like in the beginner stages, but and then if we was who we were, like when we first started talking, when we first started dating, we most likely wouldn't be together. Like even who we was, like I feel like the people that we were when we met, we was like at a good level. But even the people that we were at that level, we probably wouldn't have made it to this level.
Hmm.
Like where we are, I'm saying this far in our relationship with the things we was doing, because that's when we was having like certain issues. It was like like, why can't you see things my way? And it's like, you be doing this and you, like, you don't like to do this. Like, you're going to bring that up. But it's like, and we just was like repeating things that we learned throughout our childhood, like growing up, the things that we still see people doing. And it's so easy to get wrapped up, like, and be influenced by everything around you. And just like he said, like, just like Derek said, slowing down on like watching TV, like, you know, just throw certain influences that it's like, man, when I was a teenager, you know, I used to watch things that I had no business watching. I used to watch people with certain attitudes, like people who acted a certain way. Now, it's not really our fault that there's not like a lot of good images out there, because the fact that it really does exist, but we didn't see those positive images. Like it's people that try and keep those positive images, like of, you know, black families, you know, and healthy living situations, healthy relationships, you know, they try and keep those images away from us. So we didn't
Mm-hmm.
really see those things, you know, and it's if you watching this, you might not see those things either. That's one of the reasons that we got this show too. Like, people that know us, they see what we have, but you might not know us. That's why we making this, so it's like we can reach more people and then just give people information on how we got to where we got to. And we still like doing work every day. Like, I mean, it's not hard. Like, I feel like it's not like a battle like people say it is. But like, people be like, you know, marriage is hard work. Like, I see that. I see it. Like, you know, you gotta work for sure. Like, you gotta, but it's not like you going up a hill, like, all right, next day, you know, like, it ain't that hard. Like, I feel like once you like got the relationship thing down, you know each other. Like, I know you don't like this, I know you like that. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just two people like living amongst each other, like in harmony. It's not that hard to do, I feel like, from experience, you know.
I agree. I think it's a beautiful thing. And I think it's the cheat code of life is having somebody that got your back. And one of my friends told me that. He told me, and shout out to my boy LA. He told me that years ago that like being married was like a cheat code for him because you always got somebody that got your back. So you always, or at least should always be looking out for your best interest as an individual, trying to be, prosperous in the world. And but when you married, you got somebody else that's looking out for your back. So you got you looking at your front, and you got your wife looking at your back. So it's like you are bound to be successful or be doing well because you two people focus on the same goal in harmony together. Navigating through life, and life is already challenging, so it's like you got
Yeah.
another person helping you running ideas and thoughts, and
Yeah.
it's just a good thing. And you should always be looking to grow. Uh it should never be a stopping point. So I feel like every day we're growing and learning more about each other and more about the world and just how to
Yeah.
be better people for ourselves, for our daughter, and for each other. So think we're in a good place. So I'm glad that we started this show to give y'all and the example, that is being cut off from the world. And I'm not saying we're the perfect example, but we are a good example to
We got
show.
information.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
information that helped us. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like just like what you said, it it just takes, it's always working, like you said, like always working to improve. And that's so true. And one of the things, all I do, like when I hear certain people, like, you gotta be careful of those cliches, like people who just say stuff just to say it. Like, people just be saying sayings that just, it's, they heard people say, and then like you gotta first be conscious, because some of those things you can make true. Like, if you feel like a relationship, like there's no such thing as a successful relationship, like after somebody told me, like after a year, like relationships go downhill. If you like went in a relationship with that thought, like, well, I already know, all right, we had 8 months, yep, let's start getting ready, all right, 9 months about to start going
start
downhill.
going down.
Yeah, it's like you might create certain things that like is sabotaging a relationship. But I wanted to say, like how you said, consistently improving. One thing that comes to my mind is when, you know how like people grow apart, right? People say like in relationships, like the lady who sometimes like she do my hair, she'd be like, yeah, you know, you marry someone and you know y'all change, you change so much, and you know people say you grow apart. Like, some people grow apart in relationships, and I'm not saying that that's not even that's not a chance that that can happen to us. We see that it happens to other people, but one of the things I feel like is not so much that people grow apart, but that maybe one person grow and the other
I
person
was
don't.
thinking that too.
Yeah, because I never experienced this in an actual relationship. Because us in a relationship, like we've grown together and we grown closer together, like not far, like further apart at all. But with friendships, I've noticed that, and in our friendships where we like grew apart from other people, it has been where we like trying to do certain things, and we got friends who they still doing stuff that we used to do when we was teenagers, and it's okay. Like if you're doing stuff, if you was doing business stuff when you was a teenager, if you was eating healthy when you was a teenager, you ain't gotta be like, man, I don't do that junk no more. Like, oh, eat healthy no more. I was doing that when I was a teenager. It's like bad habits, things that don't contribute to success. Where you'd be like, yo, I'm not trying to be sitting playing the game all day no more. Like I'm a grown man. Like this is what we was used to do when we was kids, and the same with me and friends that I grew apart from. So let's say that just to talk about, like, I haven't experienced that in a relationship, like what it means to grow apart. Like, you got a great relationship, but then y'all start growing apart. Like, you the only good relationship that I had, that I experienced. Not that I had many, but you're the only good one. But friendships, like people who was like your best friends, I've experienced that. So that's another thing. Like when you grow, sometimes you can outgrow people, but you still have to always be developing yourselves. And the good thing is that you will grow apart from people who wants to stay at the same place and who will not be an asset to your life.
I agree. So I think in wrapping up, let's maybe go give them an overview on what they can do to avoid the self-sabotaging nature, because we want to make sure we give y'all concrete steps on what y'all could do to work on. So I would say for me, I'll just maybe throw one thing and we can go back and forth. I would say one thing would be to have some quiet time to just reflect on maybe what you what you're being asked or being told. So like, let's say with me, I was very impatient, and you asked me like, why are you upset, or why did you do this? And I would just take the time to listen to what people are asking or telling you and reflect on that. So take some time to reflect and take some time away from social media and from the TV, and just take some time with you. I think that's my first tip.
You took mine. I was gonna say that. Like to a certain extent.
Well, you could add something to it. I'm sure I ain't get all of it.
Well, I mean, I just was gonna say, like, that I had said in that video that I recorded was just like I even said, like, because some people been in a lot of relationships. So even if you go back to exes, like no matter how you feel about them, and ask them, like, not no funny business, not no like you trying to get back in there, but just straight up like, yo, was this something that I could have done? Like, do you think that it was something I did to sabotage the relationship? Or, and it doesn't even have to be exes, it could just be family members. And you have to watch out, because this is the thing. This is very common. Self-improvement is not common. So sometimes when you ask somebody, they're gonna start going in. That might not be the right person to ask. Like, you gotta ask a person, unfortunately, a person,
a non-biased person.
Yeah, non-biased, but they have to be someone who actually want to help and not just vent. Because there's some people who, like I said, those two people in relationships who don't want to work on themselves. So you contact that person, they could have been, emotionally abusive. They could have been, tearing all your dreams down. They could have been, whatever. They could have been had their things, and then you had some things. So you go to them and be like, "Yeah, is anything? Do you think I contributed?" They'd be like, "Yeah, you was the person. You was the one." You was the, like, avoid those kind of people, because you need positive feedback, like constructive feedback. The person that'll be like, and like I said, this could be a family member too, who might be like, "Well, you get angry really quick." And it's one thing I've been telling you about since you was young. You get angry really quickly, and it's something that it kind of make people kind of want to stay away from you. Like, just someone who would give you constructive feedback, who not biased, and who not gonna go in on you, like, telling you everything. And some of these people, unfortunately, they might not be the person who, they don't just go telling them, "I tried this before. I tried it, like, all right, now my turn. All right, now I feel like you." That might not always be the case. They might be like, "Hey, I'll tell you what's your problem. I don't want to work on my problems." But that's okay, because this is about you helping yourself. This is about you being able to develop and be a better person.
I would want to add to that too is make sure that they not ask people that are always in their corner either, because
Yeah, yes,
because
yeah.
sometimes you got people that always that's gonna be riding for you even when you're
Yep,
wrong.
yep.
And I know everybody kind of might have those in their family. And I've seen that where in my personal situations where I was dealing with people and they always had people around them that never really held them accountable.
Yep.
Like you were wrong and this person should have told you was wrong. So
Yep.
I'm the only person telling you you're wrong. So that's not enough. You need people close to you to kind of like that kind of just be honest with you and be like,
Yeah.
what you did is wrong.
Yeah.
That's not right.
That's a problem. That's a good point. Because that's a problem. You like, it don't matter if you mean well. The fact is that if you got somebody or if you're someone who, no matter what someone do, you like, you was right. You was right, girl. Like, don't worry about that. Like, you
Yeah.
could find somebody better. Like, really, you got to understand, no matter if you think that person is supporting you, that's really hurting you. That's like enabling you to continue with the behavior. So that was a good point. Yeah. That was a good point. And let me try and come up with another one. So I feel like let me see. Also, I feel like taking a look at the last person or the last several people that you dated. What was the issue? And was it a common issue with them? Was it a common issue with them? Because sometimes it could be like where you finding the people. Sometimes it could be like the reason that you're finding them for. Like, just an example that comes to my mind, you might end up dating someone who's really dependent on you, like really dependent. Like they, like everything, they need you for everything. Like they don't have their own car, they don't have their own, I don't know, like place, like, and it's nothing wrong. Like, it, different people have different situations. Some people don't have cars. They might live in a place where, cars, you don't really need a car. I'm not saying that that's like a general bad thing, but just someone who's really dependent on you. So women don't really like men that's dependent on them for everything. Like, you driving my car, you staying in my house, you eating my groceries. And the same thing, like, even with men, like, even though men have the desire to be a provider, like for instance, the way we are, like, he provides. But when we first met, you met me in 2 days. You shouldn't be buying my groceries, like, taking me for rides to get this because I ain't, got a car and doing all this stuff. Like, so let me stay on topic. If you find a trend that you attract people who are dependent, you might be expressing like a feeling of wanting to be needed. Like, so this might be another issue with you. Like, you might have that feeling like you need to be needed. You know, and you attracting people who needs you because you have this feeling like you don't have any self-worth because you don't have any self-worth without people needing you. So you don't see the value in yourself. You need other people to validate you, to need you, and to depend on you to feel like, okay, I'm doing something. Like, I got to do this and that because this person depending on me. That was just an example I just thought about. Like,
I think that's good.
Yeah, so
I think that's good.
Yeah, that quiet time, like you talked about, that's really important. Like, that quiet time of really like analyzing, like, yo, what can I do? Just like, and then just sitting, like, even if you sit down and make a list, like, I've been hearing that so much lately, and I have to practice doing that myself more. It's like writing things down. So even if you write down a list, just think like about things, like no music, no TV in the background. Just make a list of things that you feel like you can improve on. And you need to figure out where it stems from. So whether you learn this from your mom, your dad, your aunt, your grandma, TV, whatever, figure out where it stemmed from so you can help to not eliminate the source, because you still gonna have the people in your lives, but it's certain people who they have bad habits and they kind of like they be around you and they be telling you and feeding you these toxic little pieces of garbage, trying to tell you like how you should be living your life, how you should operate in relationships. So write down things that you can work on, things that you feel like you need to improve on yourself, and go through that list, figure out the source of it, and then come up with a plan on how you can start to get better, like how you can start to eliminate some of these issues, like just one by one. You ain't gotta like, you gotta list of 100 things. You ain't gotta tackle the whole list, like,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know, that day. Like, but just like I'm telling you, you're gonna start noticing, and it's gonna be very rewarding to like be like, yo, man, I used to have an attitude problem. Like, I don't have that no more. Like, now you don't have to ever hear no one say that to you again. Like, you got an attitude problem. You know, you don't have to hear that. Like, you don't have to worry about sacrificing any like good relationship that may come about because of this issue that you have that you didn't, that you chose not to address. So I'd say that's a good one too.
I agree. I think I came up with one last one, and then that was basically similar to what you said, but kind of like follow the trends that why your past relationships might have ended. So I don't know if, let's say, the last couple relationships ended and it was a lot of the fighting might have caused that. So look into what led up to the fighting or the arguing. Like, if arguing was a big thing and that's what caused the relationship to end, then maybe there's an issue there. And I'm not saying it's you specifically, but see what you are doing in those relationships that ended with arguing or with similar that similar path or trait.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of what will help you kind of figure that out. Is maybe I'm being disrespectful, maybe I'm, you know, pointing fingers, or maybe I'm doing something to cause that,
Yeah.
to bring that out of that person, and then I keep doing that to the next person, to the next person. That's why I keep getting into these these relationships that are full of arguing and fighting. And maybe if I didn't do that, and that doesn't make the other person right for engaging, but if you are starting that, or if you are, you know, pointing or hitting the person with jabs and stabs, then you are causing the problem.
Jabs and stabs.
You know?
Yeah, I get you. No, that's a good one. I agree though, because there could be like, which we know, like some argumentative people, like people who it's not even that you love, they love to argue, but they just love to be right. So no matter what, like I feel like, I know people say that. Some people say healthy. Man, this is a whole nother topic. I'm not even gonna bring this up. I'm not even gonna bring it up, because that's gonna be like a whole nother topic. But
Do you want to save it for next time, for the next one? You can
yeah,
touch on
like,
it, you know.
okay, so I was just gonna say, like, some people be like, arguing is a healthy part of relationships. I don't necessarily agree with that. Not arguing. Disagreements is cool, but arguing is like, to me, that's like kind of like a shouting match. Like, you trying to, you know, like, but either way, like I said, that'd be like another video. But what I'm saying is, some people, like you might have that tendency, like, you just want to be right. Like, and so that ends up being an argument, because when you have a disagreement, the goal of the disagreement should be, what's the solution? Not like, I was right about this, I was right about that, and you was wrong. Like, we need a solution. That's what every disagreement should be. The goal should be to end with a solution. Like, okay, so I could have did this differently, and then you be like, you know, you could have did that differently. So next time, maybe we should do it like this. Like,
yeah, how can we win?
Yeah,
that's the goal. To be, how can we win
together?
Yeah,
not
together.
how can I win individually.
Yeah.
Like, you know, an argument or show you that I'm right. So like you said, that was good, because some people can be argumentative. That can be an issue. If your relationship's always ended because you always arguing, it's always arguments. And like we said, it's not always you entirely. There's always going to be something you can work on, and then the other person as well. But if all the relationships end for a similar cause, you have to start looking at, what am I doing to contribute to this, you know, same pattern. Yeah, so that's it, y'all. We're gonna see y'all next time. And yeah, we hope that y'all be well. We look forward to seeing y'all in the next episode.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Yeah.